I want to talk about what product management really is after I worked for about almost a year as a PM, and what's the difference between that and data science career or any other career like engineering and design, and what is some of the things that you should be careful about if you want to convert into product management and how to excel at it. So let's get started. I have moved into product management because I really wanted to be sort of the product owner of a thing that I'm in charge of, and I could lead a team where people would work together on launching an idea that we all agree on or we all believe in. And I know that in a product role, even if you're in charge of it, that means that you're taking a lot of credit for a good success or a good launch of the product, but also you're taking responsibilities for any failures or any delays. And I think that makes you feel a very strong sense of ownership on the product that you're leading. So that's something that's been attracting me since the beginning. And also because a lot of people might think that product management is the closest job to starting a company at some point in the future and is a good way to practice your skills. I think in one of my previous videos, I mentioned that that is true and wrong because a lot of the times that you're not bearing as much risk as a startup co-founder because that you would not need to talk to your investors, you would not need to talk to a lot of sort of legal or privacy teams to start a company, but you would need to work very cross-functionally in the product team depending on the exact product you're working on. For example, I remember that back then at YouTube, even though I was a data scientist, we had to work with marketing team and make sure that anything that we say in the media will follow or abide by the Google's rules. So in that sense, you're sort of working with legal, working with privacy, but that's I think, in my opinion, very minimal compared to if you were to start a social media company or a video company from scratch. So yeah, it really depends on what kind of product you're on, and skill sets that you learn could be very different. But overall, I think product management role is a position that will really push you to this position where you're the leader. You need to have a strong opinion on where this product needs to be going. So that's a really good practice for you to stand up and lead. That's one thing. The second thing is that I think product management is a role where you would need to really understand what is priority. So when I say priorities, it means that, for example, there are always a million things that you need to do. For instance, what should Google do next, right? They probably have the XR glasses. They probably have Waymo, that they want to spend a ton of money on to develop their algorithm, and obviously they're facing a strong competition from ChatGPT, so they need to invest immensely in AI. So if you are Sundar Pichai or if you are the chief product officer at Google, now what's on your table really is which one is my priority. So that is like the very big scope that we're talking about. But in day to day life as a product manager, probably what you're prioritizing is just that, okay, for the next quarter or even for the next sprint meaning the next 2 weeks, what exactly do we need to get done in order to, say, for example, launch this feature, in order to, say, for example, finish discovery on the market. Priorities really is like the key thing that a good product manager needs to be able to do well. And it's not easy because, firstly, nobody knows how to build this product. Anyways, nobody knows, even if they have experience, and their experience are just past experience. Nobody knows what's going to happen next. So you just have to learn from your user, learn from the market, and make a decision. And you need to make sure that this decision, secondly, will be aligned by the rest of your team. So that's really something that it's not just about you just suddenly think of what is the priority list here, but also you need to make sure that everybody agrees to it and need to address any potential issues or blockers. And sometimes you might need to escalate to make sure that things go smoothly. So, what's the difference between data science and product management? I think data science is a career where you would mostly focus on either developing a model or you're preparing an analytics report using analytics, using data science. So if you're developing a model, you're sort of in between data science and engineering at the same time. So your goal is to sort of make sure that, just like launching any technical features, you need to make sure that it's 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 meeting the goals, it's passing all the tests, it also meets the product requirements, stuff like that. But if you're running like a product analytics kind of task, like prepare a report for your VP, then in that case you need to make sure that you understand what the data could be used to prepare some insights for business strategies. And I think the good thing is that you're always hands on. You always build stuff that would tell you that you're always building things by leveraging the truth or the data to provide insights. But the downside is that normally you're not the decision maker. So if you care about that, then I don't think data science career in the longer term will be the ultimate thing that you will enjoy a lot because based on my experience, of course, every team needs to and has to respect data science teams' opinions because they are analyzing insights from the truth. But eventually, the decisions will normally be made by product teams and engineering team because they are the ones who are going to build it. They're the ones who are talking to the users. They will take experts' opinions from data science and make a decision based upon that, not directly using it. I know in some companies the culture could be slightly different, but eventually product managers and engineering managers are making the calls. So I think that's a very key difference here. And often if you are in the early stage of a product, you don't have data at all. You're probably just like the most if your product is built upon machine learning models, then machine learning models is part of the product. But if machine learning models is just for you to analyzing customer data for iterating features, then in the early stage, unfortunately, most of the time you don't even need analytics. Or you can say that we can set up the foundation for analytics, but most of the time they're not as important as market research, understanding product pain points, and launching an MVP that works. So I think that's the key difference here. And how do you prepare for a product management career? If you want to prepare for a product management career, I think it's very worth highlighting the sort of the project leadership that you have done in the past. For example, I was talking to several friends who wanted to sort of polish their resume to prepare for a product management position, and I just say that even things like you launched a podcast or things like you started a startup project with some college friends, these also count as product management experience because eventually, as I mentioned earlier, it's all about understanding customers, understanding pain points. Can you launch something quick to solve a problem? Can you understand what are your priorities when you have roadblockers while you have limited resources? So anything that you have a leadership experience in, that you have project management experience in, would count as product management experience, in my opinion. If I were to interview anybody, I wouldn't mind if they didn't come from a product management skills because I think a lot of the things that product managers use or do every day can be picked up quickly, fairly easily. But what really matters is can you tell me how you would allocate resources at a resource limitation situation, and how can you encourage the team or unify the team to make sure that things get delivered? So these things matters more. And if you have these kind of experience, just mention them in your resume, mention them and try to polish it up and make sure to highlight that how you showed your leadership skills. So yeah, hope that was helpful, and let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.